Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're not just reading an ancient text, we're jumping into a 1,500-year-old cold case. Our crime scene? It's a single page of the Talmud, and the whole mystery hinges on a question that sounds simple but is anything but. What happens to a bowl of holy water?
So let's get right into it. This is the central puzzle that kicks off our entire investigation. Now you might be thinking, how complicated can that be? Well, as we're about to see, this one question opens up a complete labyrinth of legal reasoning, of conflicting reports, and some seriously impressive detective work.
To really get what's going on, we have to set the scene. Imagine we're in the ancient temple in Jerusalem. This is a place that's governed by incredibly intricate rules of ritual purity. Every single object, every action, it has to be just right.
Okay, so here's the key legal concept at the heart of our case. It's called linna. Think of it like a spiritual expiration date. If something sacred, like part of a sacrifice, gets left out from one day to the next, it becomes disqualified, or pasul. It's no longer fit for use. The big question, though, is does this rule apply to everything sacred?
Our investigation is zeroing in on this specific water. And this isn't just any old water, right? It's held in the cure, the sacred basin, and it's there for a very holy purpose, to let the priests purify themselves before they can perform the temple service. So it's sanctified in a vessel to be used for a ritual. That's a key distinction.
And you know, every great detective story needs that one brilliant mind who asks the question nobody else thought of. For us, that's the sage, Elpha. He looks at this whole situation and sees this fascinating legal paradox just sitting there.
And this just nails the dilemma perfectly. See, some authorities believe that the state of purity a priest gets from washing their hands, well, it lasts. It isn't subject to linna. So Ilfa asks, does the water follow the rules for sacred objects, which are subject to linna, or does it follow the rules of the ritual it's used for, which might not be? It's a great question. So right off the bat, as soon as Ilfa asks this critical question, the trail immediately splits. Two different sages show up from the land of Israel, and they bring two completely different stories about what Ilfa actually concluded.
So which one is it? On the one hand, we have a report from a sage named Raven, and he says Ilfa gave a clear, simple answer. The water is fine, not disqualified, case closed. But then we get this other report from Rabbi Asi, and it's way more cryptic. He says Ilfa ruled a priest does not sanctify from it the next day. But why? Is it because the water is now unfit, or is it because the priest's previous washing is still good? That ambiguity leaves the case wide open.
Okay, so the witness testimonies are conflicting. What do good detectives do next? They look for physical evidence. And that's exactly what the Talmud does. It starts examining a passage from the Mishnah that describes this really curious invention that was used in the temple.
And here we have it. This looks like a smoking gun. A high priest named Ben Katen apparently built a special device, a mukalani, to do one thing: lower the entire basin into a ritual bath at night. And the text tells us the reason, plain as day, to prevent the water from being disqualified by linna. I mean, come on, right? This feels pretty open and shut. The very existence of this contraption seems to prove that everyone believed the water was, in fact, subject to disqualification. You just don't invent a solution for a problem that doesn't exist. Seems like our case is solved.
But wait, not so fast. Just when we think we've got it all figured out, an objection is raised. The Talmudic lawyers basically argue, hey, how can you be sure whose legal opinion this Mishnah reflects? What if Ben Kedin was just being extra careful, following a stricter opinion? This evidence might prove something for one school of thought, but maybe not for the one Ilfa is actually dealing with.
And this is where things take a really wild turn. To figure out if this evidence is even admissible, the investigation goes down a total rabbit hole. To understand the law about the water, the Talmud realizes it first has to settle a debate about the precise geography of the temple courtyard. It sounds completely unrelated, but trust me, it's all part of the process.
So here's the logic. The detectives realize they can't figure out whose opinion the Mishnah about the contraption follows without first settling this other massive debate about what exactly counts as the north side of the altar, where the most holy sacrifices were supposed to be performed. You can't understand the law until you understand the map.
This is actually fascinating. You've got three different rabbis, and they each have a slightly different map of the temple in their heads. Rabbi Yosai, he has a very strict, narrow definition of north. Then Rabbi Elazar comes along and expands it a little bit. And finally, Rabbi Yehuda Hanassi, who's known simply as Rabbi, he has the most expansive view of all. Which map you use has huge legal consequences, and it's a way of fingerprinting which legal school a certain text might belong to.
So, after all that, after that whole deep dive into temple architecture, what's the verdict on our smoking gun? It's a dud. Yep. The Gemara basically concludes that you can make the Mishnah fit with any of these opinions. The details mentioned were probably just for the high priest's convenience, not to make some kind of definitive legal statement. So the contraption doesn't solve our case after all.
So our main piece of physical evidence is out. The investigators are pretty much back to square one, but then they uncover one last really cryptic statement from a major authority, Rabbi Yochanan, and it seems to contradict everyone.
Now this is a new twist. For legal purposes, the day starts at dawn. So Rabbi Yochanan is saying that a purification that was done before the new day officially starts is still valid after the day starts. This is a real head-scratcher. It doesn't neatly fit with either of the main opinions we've been tracking. It's a brand new puzzle piece that has to be explained.
And now the big guns arrive. Two of the Talmud's greatest intellectual rivals, two absolute heavyweights, Abai and Rava, step onto the scene. And each of them is going to propose a comprehensive theory that tries to solve not just Rabbi Yochanan's statement, but the entire mystery right from the very beginning.
Let's look at how they each crack it. Abai suggests that Rabbi Yochanan actually follows the stricter view, that Lina does disqualify the priest's hands. But he argues this is a rabbinic rule, not a biblical one, so the rabbis made a practical exception for that really short period around dawn. Rava comes up with a totally different solution. He says no. Rabbi Yochanan agrees with the lenient view that Lina doesn't disqualify the hands, but he just adds one condition. The purification is only good for one continuous block of service. What's so brilliant about both theories is that they elegantly make all the conflicting pieces of evidence fit together.
So there we have it. Two master detectives, two competing theories, and each one accounts for all the clues, all the testimony, all the evidence. After all of these twists and turns, which theory finally solves the case of the holy water? Who's right?
And this is the incredible final twist. The Talmud doesn't pick one. It doesn't declare a winner. It lays out both Abai's argument and Rava's argument in full. It admires the logic and the brilliance of each one, and it just leaves them standing side by side. You see, the goal was never to just get a simple answer and close the file. The goal was to explore every logical possibility.
This whole case of the holy water shows us something really profound about the Talmud itself. The true value isn't always in the final verdict. It's in the intellectual journey, the rigor of the debate, the careful analysis of every piece of evidence, and the whole process of building knowledge, one question at a time. What you should take away from this isn't just an answer to an ancient question, but maybe a whole new way of thinking about how we ask questions in the first place.